King Charles visits Kenya as colonial past looms large. Greetings from royal family lit on my channel. Tuesday marks the start of King Charles II's official state visit to Kenya, where he will face intense pressure to apologize for Britain's brutal colonial past. The legacy of decades of British colonial control hangs large, despite the fact that Charles and Queen Camilla's 4-day visit has been framed as an opportunity to look to the future and build on the strong links between London and Nairobi. Since taking the throne in September of last year following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, the 74-year-old British head of state is making his first trip to an African or Commonwealth country. Following visits to Germany and France earlier this year, the British High Commission stated that the visit will spotlight the strong and dynamic partnership between the UK and Kenya. As Kenya gets ready to celebrate its 60th year of independence in December, it will also acknowledge the more painful aspects of Britain's long relationship with the East African nation. One such instance is the emergency of 1952 to 1960, during which the Mau Mau guerrilla uprising, one of the deadliest rebellions against British rule, prompted colonial authorities to declare a state of emergency. At least 10,000 individuals, mostly from the Kikuyu tribe, were slain. However, some historians and human rights organizations contend that the actual death toll is much higher. Tens of thousands more were apprehended and imprisoned in camps where stories of brutal beatings, torture, and executions were frequent. The royal visit also coincides with growing Republican voices in the UK and increasing demand in several Caribbean Commonwealth nations to depose the British monarch as head of state. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Brutal handling. Nevertheless, the royal family has a particular connection to Kenya. It is the nation where Elizabeth first learned of her father, King George VI's death in 1952, which signaled the beginning of her historic 70-year reign. Furthermore, Elizabeth's own state visit in November 1983 was nearly 40 years ago. Kenyan President William Ruto, who has praised the visit as a significant opportunity to enhance collaboration in several spheres, will formally greet Charles and Camilla on Tuesday. Charles will meet young Kenyans and businesses during his 2 days in the country's capital, Nairobi, and he will also attend a state banquet that Ruto is hosting. In addition, he will plant a wreath at the tomb of the unknown warrior in Uhuru Gardens, the site of Kenya's December 1963 Declaration of Independence. The royal couple's itinerary includes a visit to a natural reserve, a meeting with religious leaders, and a trip to the port city of Mombasa in the Indian Ocean. Charles will take some time to deepen his understanding of the wrongs suffered by Kenyans during colonial rule, according to Buckingham Palace. Despite the program's primary focus being on the environment, creative arts, technology, and youth, the Kenya Human Rights Commission urged him on Sunday to pay restitution for crimes committed during the colonial era and to offer a clear and unequivocal public apology for the brutal and inhuman treatment inflicted on Kenyan citizens. Not need to beg. Over 5,000 Kenyans who had been abused during the Mau Mau uprising were to receive compensation from Britain in 2013 as part of an agreement valued at almost £20 million, $25 million in today's currency. William had, then the Foreign Secretary, stated that Britain sincerely regrets the atrocities but refrained from offering a comprehensive apology. Delivery rider Simpson Mwangi, 22, told AFP that it's only fair the king apologizes to begin the healing process. The terrible effects of colonization are still being felt today and are being passed down from generation to generation. Maureen Katha, a 33-year-old chef, wasn't convinced. Like any other statesman, we ought to greet him, talk with him about potential areas of cooperation, and then say goodbye. We're not required to beg. Kenya and the United Kingdom are important commercial partners, with two-way trade expected to reach £1.2 billion by the end of March 2023. However, the continued presence of British troops in Kenya, where troops are accused of rape and murder, as well as the injured civilians caused by munitions, remains another source of friction. An investigation of the actions of the British Army, which maintains a facility close to Nanyuki, a town located roughly 200 kilometers (120 miles) north of Nairobi, was started in August by the Kenyan Parliament. Kenya has been referred to as the first stop on Charles' mission to save the Commonwealth by the British publication Daily Mail. Out of the 56 countries that make up the Commonwealth, more than a dozen still recognize the British Queen as their head of state.